A bunch of Madden 24 ratings were just released by EA Sports, so we're going to go over them in this video and discuss. And we're going to be getting more ratings all throughout the week, so if you want to catch up, just come back every day and we'll discuss the latest ones. And after that, we're going to be getting some more Madden news, like some exclusive gameplay videos that I'll have and more in the weeks to follow. So right out the gate, we got to start with Justin Jefferson, the official first 99 overall for Madden 24, which I think a lot of people predicted. He has just been on an absolute tear. Nobody has started their career in the first 3 seasons better than him, so it was about time to give him that boost. Now, when looking at the other 10 top receivers, here's who we have. Tyreek Hill is very close with a 98 overall. He's never been a 99. I think he's gonna probably finally get it this year, you would think. I mean, you can argue he should have been a 99 at some point already, but for some reason, he's never gotten past that 98, but I think this year he'll get there. Devontae Adams coming in at a 97, which is the lowest he's been in a minute. He's been 99 like every year for the last few years, but finally coming down just a little bit. Stephon Diggs has kind of always been in this range for the last few years, top 5, 96 overall. Cooper Kupp still at a 96, obviously had a big setback last year with injuries, but still one of the best. Jamar Chase getting some love, up to a 94. He'll probably crack the top 5 later this year. DeAndre Hopkins still a 93. I think he's still a really good receiver. He's now officially on the Titans too, which is pretty interesting. We'll see if he still has that same star power. Last year, obviously, he had some injuries and stuff, so we have to kind of see what he can do on this new team. We've got Terry McLaurin at a 92 getting some love. AJ Brown and Amari Cooper at a 91. AJ Brown's the main guy I kind of take issue with here. I think, look, after last season, that production was insane. I think you got to bump him up. I think he should be up there with kind of like where DeAndre Hopkins is. I think that would be fair. Terry McLaurin's a guy I love, and he's never had a good QB, so like if he had a good QB, I think his production would be similar to guys like AJ, but I think with the production AJ had last year, like you have to kind of give him that nod. He just had too good of a season to still be at a 91. And here are the wide receivers 11 through 20, so CeeDee Lamb is right outside that top 10 at a 90. He'll probably move into the top 10 at some point this year. Mike Evans also a 90. Keenan Allen, Deebo Samuel, and Tyler Lockett come in at 89s. That's kind of the range those 3 guys have been for the last couple of years. Mike Williams up to an 88. He's been, playing a lot better as of late. DK Metcalf at an 88. You maybe can argue he's a little too low. Maybe he could be like a 90. Jalen Waddle at an 88 as well. I think he'll jump up into the 90s this year for sure. He's had a solid 2 good years, and he's one of the fastest in the league, which helps the overall rating. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Devontae Smith also come in at an 87. Now we're going to look at the rest of the wide receivers, and then we'll look at the safeties because they also released safety ratings today. We're going to talk about rookie ratings as well, so stick around. If you made it to this point of the video, I mean, you're pretty much already a part of the family, so you might as well go ahead and subscribe. Whether you like it or not, you're one of us now. We're on the road to 500K and then soon on the road to 1 million. I'd love for you to be a part of it. So here we can see that T. Higgins is also an 87 overall, so he's tied for that 20th spot with Devonta Smith and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think you could argue he should be a little higher as well. He's been really killing it. Then we've got Brandon Ayuk, Chris Godwin, and DJ Moore coming in at an 86, which is probably about right. I do think Chris Godwin's probably a little better than that, but obviously the Bucs offense struggled a little bit last year, but I think I would say he's a little bit higher than that. Then we've got Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk, both at 85 for the Jags, so the Jags should have a pretty good offense this year in the game. We've also got Michael Pittman and Odell at an 85, so Odell's still hanging in the mid 80s. We'll see what he can do with Lamar. Michael Pittman, obviously a solid young guy. We've got Chris Olave, second-year guy, along with Garrett Wilson, the Ohio State teammates, coming in at an 84. Hollywood Brown also coming in at an 84. We've got Michael Thomas also coming in at an 84. I mean, just a few years ago, he was 99, but he's been hurt for the past 3 years, so that's kind of what happens when you keep missing time. He looked good the first couple games he played last year, but then he missed the rest of the season. So if he can play a full season, I think he can move his rating back up into like the high 80s, maybe even 90. We'll see. We've got Adam Thielen, Brandon Cooks, Gabe Davis, and Jerry Jeudy at an 83. Cortland Sutton, Curtis Samuel, Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Tyler Boyd at an 82. I don't really have too much of an issue with any of those guys. I think for kind of where they've been lately, that's about right. I mean, Sutton and Jeudy, I think, are guys. Sean Payton offense, I think they're definitely gonna go up as the year goes on. We've got Darnell Mooney, Hunter Renfrow, Jacoby Myers, Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard, and Zay Jones at an 81. I'd maybe bump Mooney. I really like Darnell Mooney, but we'll see. Hunter Renfrow, I don't know, 81 might be a little low for him as well, but it's nothing too crazy. We've got Devontae Parker, Drake London, George Pickens, and Michael Gallup at an 80. I think guys like London and Pickens probably go up a bit this year. Now for the rookie wide receivers, these are the top rated guys. So Jackson Smith-Njigba comes in at the highest overall at a 78, which I think was expected. Zay Flowers is a 77. Jordan Addison is a 76. We've got Quentin Johnston and Marvin Mims at a 74. Rashee Rice and Jaden Reed Reed at a 73, Tank Dell, Jonathan Mingo at a 72, Josh Downs at a 71, Jalen Hyatt at a 70. I saw some people were surprised that he seemed a little low, and Cedric Tillman at a 69. Now let's talk about these safeties. So here are the top 10 safeties. Derwin James, I mean, coming in at number 1, no problem with that. I think he's been the best safety in the league for the past few years. I think even as a rookie, you could argue he was already one of the best. He was just really good out the gate, but he suffered with injuries. That was kind of the thing that held him back. But since he's been back like healthy, I think he's the best. And Minka's a pretty close second. Some people say Minka should be first. I don't really have an issue either way, but me personally, I would go Derwin. So I don't have a problem with this. Justin Simmons, Kevin Byard, Jesse Bates, these are guys that are finally getting love, because every year when they do the top 5 safeties, you would have guys like Simmons and Bates and Byard a lot of times left out of the top 5 for some reason, but now they've kind of corrected that. So I do think the top 5, I would say they got the top 5 right. Whatever order you want to put them in, if you want to switch around Simmons and Byard or Bates and Simmons, you know, I think you can kind of shuffle some of these guys around, but I do think the top 5 is right. Tyrann Mathieu is, I guess, technically in the top 5 because he's a 91 as well. I do think Tyrann Mathieu is still one of the better safeties in the league. I mean, he plays for my team, but he's not quite the top 2-3 guy that he was when he was with the Chiefs and before that. He did turn it around last season. First half was kind of bad or just iffy, I guess you would say. Second half was really good, so definitely still a good guy, but I think he's rated right. And then you've got Budda Baker, Jordan Poyer, Harrison Smith at a 90, Micah Hyde at 89. I don't really have too much issue with this. Some people think Harrison Smith is too high this late in his career, but he really is still a very good safety in my opinion. And here are the safeties 11 through 20. So we got Marcus Williams and Jamal Adams at an 88, which I think is, I mean, that's probably fair. Quandre Diggs at 87. I think he's a guy that's usually a little underrated, so I could see the argument for him being like an 89, 90. Jimmy Ward at an 87, Antoine Winfield 87. Obviously, we got your boy from the Niners. I never quite know how to say his name accurately. I always forget, so excuse me, but that guy is a beast. I mean, he does kind of remind you of like a young Troy P in some ways, and not just because of the hair, it's just how he plays. So I think he'll continue moving up. Kyle Duggar at an 86. He's been really solid since coming into the league. I think some people wanted to see him higher, but I'm not mad at that. 86, I think, is a solid rating, especially for safeties. You don't see too many safeties get 90 plus. Eddie Jackson's kind of fallen down a lot over the years, but he's still a really good guy at 85. Maybe could be a little higher. We'll see what he does this year. Javon Holland, another guy I really like. I would say 84. I would put him a little higher. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, another guy that a lot of people think is too low at this 84. Did lead the league in interceptions, but I'll be the first to tell you I don't think interceptions is the most important statistic at all for defensive backs, but he is a guy that is very impactful. He changes games, he gets turnovers, he makes big plays. He brings a lot to any team that he's on. He used to be on my team, so I mean, I know I didn't want to lose him. He's a really good player. I don't think 84 is accurate enough for the impact that he brings to the defense that he's on, so I would say like 87, 88 I think would be more fair, but that's your top 20. Now here are the other safeties. We've got Adrian Amos, Jabril Peppers, Cameron Curl, Marcus May, and Von Bell all coming in at an 83, which I think this is about right for these guys. Then we've got Forrest, Kyle Hamilton, Malik Hooker, Adrian Phillips, Donovan Wilson, those guys coming in at 82 and 81. Again, I'm not really having any issues with those. Isaiah Simmons, Curse, Jeremy Chin, Justin Reed, Ryan Neal, all at an 81. Justin Reed's a guy I feel like is usually a little underrated. I would have him higher. Jeremy Chin as well. I think Jeremy Chin is a really good player. 81 feels quite low for him. Then we've got Julian Love, Xavier McKinney at 80, Amani Hooker, Andre Sisco, and Chuck Clark at a 79. Xavier McKinney's another one I did see some people mention. 80 does feel a little low for him. He's been playing pretty solid, especially last year. So I think I wouldn't bump him up too much, but I think even like 83, 84, maybe even 85, I think would be a little bit more accurate for him. Again, don't forget to subscribe if you want to stay up with all of the latest Madden 24 news, and make sure to check out this video right here if you want more info on Madden 24's gameplay.